Hi, this is Mike Dilke with the Relaxback UK show on UK Health Radio, your global real feel-good radio station. On the Relaxback UK show, we explore all kinds of health topics, so keep listening and enjoy the ride. Hi, and thank you for joining me, Mike Dilke, on the Relaxback UK show. Prevention is better than cure. It's true in all walks of life, and it's certainly true in health. Today I chat with Mark Hall. He's head of primary care at Nuffield Health, and he says lots of people are being encouraged to get more active by their doctors, their GP, their physio, or whatever. And gyms are really finding that their customers are more health oriented.
What we are finding is practitioners and healthcare professionals are really pushing exercise and fitness and well-being as a preventative medical way of preventing illness.
So the message is gyms aren't full of muscle-bound grunters that kind of make awful noises and lift enormous weights, but lots of regular people just trying to keep a bit healthier. Nothing against the muscle-bound grunters, by the way, but you guys generally are a bit of a minority, I think. He also talks about something very close to my heart, literally close to my heart. Lots of people may have high blood pressure and not know about it. I found out pretty much by accident, and since then I've been able to do something about it.
Those with high blood pressure on the appropriate program that is a mix between those medications and health and well-being activities can lower the blood pressure.
Mark talks about ways to get help with that, but the message is get checked out any way you can. Your GP, your gym, at the pharmacist, whatever it is, do get checked to make sure your blood pressure isn't too high, or too low for that matter. So please do join us for a great show. Thank you.
The station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio. The station that makes you feel good.
So, Mark Hall is head of primary care at Nuffield Health. We spoke about how gyms in general can help people stay healthier, and also specifically about Nuffield Health and the range of services they can offer. So I started off by asking, as head of primary care, how do you help Nuffield users?
Yeah, no, thank you, Mike. And hello, everybody. I guess we'll start off by setting the scene about who Nuffield Health are as an organisation. And most people will know Nuffield Health either as a chain of gym operators or a hospital, depending on the location of your listeners.
I must admit, when I first think of Nuffield, I think of a gym.
Yes, yeah, and it will be depending on where you are and what your sort of local facility, what your local Nuffield facility is closest to you. But we're actually the UK's largest healthcare charity. So our aim is to build a healthier nation for the UK, and that is presenting a source of information, healthcare, fitness, and well-being to everybody across the UK. So we've got over 115 gyms across the UK and 37 hospitals. In addition to that, we operate our health services across around 125 corporate organisations around the UK. And we also deliver a number of free programs for health and wellbeing across our gyms as well. So to try and really maximise people who use our service. And as a result of that, we don't call our people who use our service members or patients. We sort of categorise them as beneficiaries, because what we want to do is allow everybody to benefit from our service, whether they are trying to prevent ill health, trying to recover from health, or indeed try and improve their general well-being.
Okay. So one thing you mentioned there, 120, you're in 125 corporates. So what are those kind of private gyms in businesses, or a little more than that?
Yeah, a little of a completely sort of a diversity, really. So organisations will commission Nuffield Health to deliver on-site wellbeing services to their employees. Sometimes it's an on-site gym that is managed by Nuffield Health, or sometimes it's a complete medical and health suite consisting of a GP, physiotherapists, personal trainers, mental health practitioners, really providing a bit of a 360 service to their employees.
Okay, and presumably that's for businesses that want to keep their staff healthy, because it's much better for them if their staff are healthy, because they're more likely to turn up for work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, organisations now are really investing in the health and well-being of their employees. Not only is it a benefit and a perk that's being that is often popular for people seeking work, but also it provides a benefit to their work. Improve productivity, improve sense of loyalty, if organisations do provide health and wellbeing services on site or indeed virtual for employees.
Okay, all right. Another thing you mentioned, which I was kind of interested to pick up on, 37 hospitals. Okay, so I had no idea that there were 37 Nuffield hospitals. So that's in the UK. That's not worldwide. This is UK we're talking here.
That's right. That's UK. So as far sort of south as Brighton on the south coast, we've got a hospital, and right up into Edinburgh, we've got another hospital. So yeah, all around the UK, we've got those 37 hospitals, and then between all of those places as well, we've got those 117 fitness and wellbeing gyms as well. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Just about the hospitals, for a patient to end up in one of those hospitals, will they have had private health insurance, or are they sometimes a bit of an overflow from the NHS? How does that work? What sort of people go to them? Yeah,
a wide variety, really. So private medical insurance, which is where individuals, maintain a private healthcare scheme either through self-funding or through their organisation. We deliver a lot of services on behalf of the private medical insurance companies. We have self-payers, so we have individuals who will self-pay to have their operations at a private hospital, which is very prevalent at the moment, actually, Mike, because of the post-pandemic, post-lockdown pressures on the NHS for elective surgery, hips, knees, shoulder replacement surgeries, for example. So a lot of private organisations are supporting the NHS either through commission services or through patients and beneficiaries paying for themselves.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to something that I kind of know a bit more about, because thankfully I haven't had to spend much time in hospitals. Generally, I'm relatively fit. I'm not exactly a great gym goer, but I have set foot in a gym. And that's just kind of, as I said at the start, when I think of Nuffield, I sort of think of gyms, but now I've been put right a little bit. When most people go to your gyms, do you think they're looking to sort of get fit generally, or looking to help with a sort of a specific health concern? Might have they been to see their doctor and the doctor said, look, Al, you need to get down the gym to, sort a particular issue out. What is there a general sort of thing people are looking to do?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I mean, historically, I would suggest that individuals have aimed to improve their health and well-being by joining a gym for some type of specific outcome, whether that outcome was to feel better about themselves, whether it was to drop a dress size, lose weight, join, socialize as part of being in the gym. There was always some sort of goal or outcome. Whereas what we are finding is practitioners and healthcare professionals are really pushing exercise and fitness and well-being as a preventative medical way of preventing illness. So when individuals do go and see their GP or maybe a physio or any other type of healthcare practitioner, they should be promoting fitness and well-being, exercise, gentle, gym activity, for example, for a wide range of poor illnesses So I think habits are changing somewhat, actually, Mike. So historically, I think it was the former, that people wanted to go there to achieve something, where now I think people are going to join gyms to feel better around themselves and to improve their sense of well-being. Because we do know, lots of people will ask doctors and GPs, is there a magic pill that we can take? And there is that magic pill. That magic pill is actually being more active, partaking in more physical activity. And
sure. Exercise can help with a lot of things. And actually, I have to admit that question was slightly selfish, because I suffer from high blood pressure, and I kind of found out by accident, actually, which was probably a good thing. So now I do take medication for high blood pressure, and I do try and do a bit more exercise and eat a little more sensibly, drink a bit less alcohol, all that. But if I sort of went to Nuffield and said, right, here's the problem, my blood pressure's this, I'm a bit worried about it, would I be sort of taken through a system, or would I just be sort of signed up to join the gym and then sort of pushed in the direction of the various machines and exercise devices and told to get on with it? Sort of what's available for someone who's, frankly, a bit concerned about an aspect of their health?
Yeah, no. And as far as an intervention, one size never fits all. So for individuals diagnosed with, lifestyle diseases, illnesses, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, etc., then it is looking at the individual as a holistic, but individual basis. So, medicines prescribed by doctors, GPs are the right thing to do, depending on your condition. But in addition to that, we should be looking at really promoting health and well-being, exercise and activity. So if we take a beneficiary back to their journey, they might be, as you said, they might not even know they've got a condition like that. And that's where things like health assessments or health MOTs, for example, are beneficial, because individuals don't necessarily know they've got blood pressure. They might be suffering from symptoms they don't realise is associated with blood pressure. So a general health check, whether that is a health check at a gym or fitness or wellbeing, whether that is a paid for full-blown health assessment where you have your bloods checked, your blood pressure checked, your cholesterol, etc., all monitored, or whether you just go into your GP as part of an annual health check that the over 40s should be doing anyway, and then recognizing you have got a long-term condition that can be managed through lifestyle changes, diet, nutrition, fitness and wellbeing activities, as well as medication. So at Nuffield Health, we're just in the new year, as part of our January restart for individuals who often join the gym after a period of less activity. We are launching a new service called Personal Best, and Personal Best is exactly focused on you as an individual. Is it to prevent disease? Is it about wanting to achieve a goal? Is it about improving your general well-being and poor health, for example? And as part and parcel of that, we will be doing things like basic health check of checking your blood pressure, etc. Because individuals don't recognise it, that they might be suffering from conditions, but it is preventable. In those with good blood pressure, maintaining that good blood pressure can be done by exercise, but those with high blood pressure on the appropriate program that is a mix between those medications and health and wellbeing activities can lower the blood pressure.
Right. So you've got GPs on site very often as well.
We do. So across around 60 of our fitness or wellbeing sites, we have what we call medical centres, and those medical centres form part of our primary care service. So right at the beginning of this sort of Q&A, you mentioned about my role and what I do. And in healthcare, you have something called primary care, which is a frontline service of healthcare, and secondary care, which is hospital. So across half of our fitness and wellbeing sites, we have medical centres. That is our primary care service. Part and parcel of that, we have frontline practitioners, physios, emotional wellbeing therapists, physiologists, And those GPs are available to undertake those health checks, health assessments I talked about earlier. And then we are really trying to push accessibility healthcare out to our members so they can access private services by Nuffield Health.
I suppose what I'm getting at is if I went along, or a member went along for one of these health checks, which is, I guess, is from a GP, and they, and this throws up a problem, would I then be moved to the most appropriate sort of exercise? Because if my blood pressure is kind of under control, but if it was really alarmingly high, and I suddenly went and did a really difficult spin class, that might not be the best course of action.
No,
I should be. It should be suggested I go to the correct sort of exercise class.
Yeah, absolutely that. And it's about it's never about going from zero to become a fitness hero, overnight and quickly. Nobody would advocate that, particularly if they're diagnosing or picking up some early lifestyle illnesses, for example. So the duty of care of your GP, so your NHS GP, is always your kind of personal GP. So our GPs may indeed flag something, and they will always write to your NHS GP because they've got the central duty of care. However, what our GPs will be doing is recommending activities that as a patient, as a beneficiary, you can access. And one of our aims, as I said at the beginning of the call, is to build a healthier nation. What we want to do is deliver that through connected health. And that means that whether you are seeing a qualified doctor, a GP, a physio, health assessment, physiologist, or an emotional wellbeing therapist, what we want to do is go, okay, well, I'm going to look after you for this element of it, but let's refer you to a colleague on the gym floor that can take you through some very gentle cardiovascular activities, gentle cycling, a run on the treadmill, some walking, uphill walking that might benefit. And then we can check up on you after you've been doing that activity. As far as personal trainers on the gym floor, we've got a plethora of gym physical PT trainers, as we call them, PTs. Some of them are actually sort of qualified at delivering sort of rehabilitation for long-term conditions, whether that's things like back pain, cancer, cardiac disease, COVID as another one as well. So we really are trying to provide our PTs that would normally work in traditional gyms with that health and wellbeing background as well, supported by qualified staff.
Yeah, that's interesting. So have you got a special program for long COVID? Because a lot of people are suffering with that at the minute.
Yeah, we have. I mean, the data at the moment is showing that sort of I think it's now 3 million with ongoing COVID symptoms, whether that is formally diagnosed as long COVID or part of those symptoms, shortness of breath, fatigue, anxiety as well. And as part of our response to COVID, we developed that flagship program, as we call it. Our flagship programs are rehab and healthcare programs that are free for our beneficiaries at zero cost. And we often develop those programs based on a shortness of accessible services out there in the community, being rehabilitation. There's a real shortage of community rehab out in the UK at the moment, and it is indeed a postcode lottery. So based on where you are will determine what type of rehabilitation you get. So during COVID, early on, around take our thoughts back to sort of April, May 2020, we recognised that there would be a long-term impact to the health of the nation as a result of COVID. So a project team came together to form a programme and design a long-term or a 12-week programme to focus on long-term effects of COVID-19, developed jointly by a multidisciplinary team within Nuffield Health, but also some experts from outside of Nuffield as well, local universities, etc. So it's a multidisciplinary service supported by physiotherapists and developed and delivered by our rehabilitation specialists out in our fitness and wellbeing gym.
Good. I mean, that sounds like it could be very useful, potentially help a lot of people. One thing that I've really noticed, if I'm doing any exercise program or what have you, to kind of keep me engaged, there has to be some I don't know, some sort of level of maybe community spirit or being part of a club, this kind of thing. It just makes the whole thing a lot easier. And also, I think it can be very beneficial for kind of emotional well-being as well. You know, if I don't know, if there's a club that does running every something or other night, and you know you're going to meet some like-minded people, and you go do your exercise, and you know have a bit of a chat as well. Does Nuffield kind of work at trying to promote a kind of a community spirit to essentially to keep people coming back? Because you know, sometimes it's just a lot more than exercise. It's it kind of helps lots of our needs, if you like.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Mike. And as human beings, we are social beings. You know, we part and parcel of our genetic makeup is that we like being around people and we like socializing. And that's why during lockdown, you know, loneliness became a real issue for some, because we're not used to being alone. We like to speak to people. We like to meet people. We like to socialize with people, and health and well-being is no different to that. If I focus on our primary gyms, our group exercise, so our cycling activity within the gyms, our group exercise are one of our most popular types of activity that is found in our gyms, whether that is a bit of competition between those partaking in some of that activity, or whether that is indeed combining fitness and well-being with that of being in a group. Secondly, the flagship programs I talked about, you know, we have got that COVID-19 program. We've just launched a cardiac, hearts and minds rehabilitation program as well. And we've got a program that's designed for those with long-term joint, hip, knee, back conditions, for example. And what we find,
I suppose it's good to know it's just you're not alone. If nothing, you know, if you're going there because you've got bad back pain, you come across a few others that do as well.
Exactly that, and what we often find in listening to our beneficiaries who's accessed that service, I just had one land on my inbox just yesterday afternoon, actually, from a beneficiary, from a participant who'd completed a program. And number one feedback we get is, you know, thank you for providing this service to us. But the second most common sort of comment on that feedback is thank you for introducing me to people who are struggling or had struggled in the same way I am. So having that sense of belonging, of part and parcel of a cohort of individuals is extremely positive. So yeah, across our main activities in our fitness wellbeing and our flagship programs, it's got a social element to it. It's absolutely vital, 100%.
And do you? This is possibly a bit of a silly question. I don't know. I'll ask it anyway. Who is kind of more social and sociable within the Nuffield environments? You know, is it men or women, or can you not tell the difference? Do they both sort of go for community type reasons?
Yeah, I think there's an absolute mix, actually. To be honest, I don't think we could categorize whether it's the males or females who use our services, whether they go for more sort of social interaction as such. I mean, we've got quite a split across our male and female members and individuals who use our service. What we do know, though, and this is quite a good kind of opportunity to reference men's health and you know, individuals who are struggling from conditions that are men. We do know that they do struggle to kind of speak up about their health and well-being. So one of my asks for everyone I speak to is, you know, if you are part of a group of lads or group of men, you know, you might ask about their work, you might ask around their family, you know, what car they're driving at the moment. But what they don't do is ask around that kind of sense of health and well-being as well. So if I could push, you know, any listeners that are part of a group of lads is just, you know, always have a think about their friends, you know, mental health, physical health, and do ask for them their sort of how are they feeling, and then listen to what they say and then ask again, because often people are very quick to say, yeah, I'm okay. But just ask them again after they've answered you. So yeah, to your question around, social interaction, is it men or women? No real difference, but yeah, using that opportunity as a bit of a plug really around men's health there, Mike.
Okay, yeah, I think that's probably a very good idea. Yeah, if just ask your male friends how they are, not once but twice. All right, good. Yeah, that's we'll take that on board. Let me just ask one other thing, which I've really noticed creeping into kind of the exercise world. I mean, it's been coming in for a while, but just recently it's kind of at a full gallop, and that is kind of technology in the world of exercise. Now, I mean, you used to be able to just go for a jog, stick on a pair of shoes and go for a nice little jog around the block and all was fine. It seems you can't do that anymore. And sometimes I think, is all this stuff really necessary? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love all the technology stuff, and I've got a running watch, and I do look at it. But do you think sometimes we just get a bit, distracted? Because we should just do a bit of exercise. We don't really need to know everything about our body, the heart rate and how far we've gone and everything. Do we just overanalyze ourselves sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, look, as human beings, we are not evolving anywhere as fast as technology is evolving. So as human beings, we are always trying to keep up with technology, and that can actually play a bit of a negative, it does have a negative effect on our health and well-being, technology as a whole. Always on culture. We've always got our phones beside us. The news is on 24/7. That doesn't always promote, the best news that is positive for our mental health. But generally speaking, I am an advocate for digital health and how it can improve things. So as an individual, if actually you struggle with that concept of being monitored, or you struggle with that concept of comparing last week to this week, then my suggestion is you step away from that and you do go on your run, or you go to the gym, or you'll do your walk without that technology. However, what I would say is technology can help track and monitor how we're doing. There's technology out there at the moment that is detecting, temperature. It's detecting heartbeat activity, and whether there's any early signs to disease, for example. So what we wouldn't want to do is promote digital technologies to the worried well, those that would look into it deeply and start to think that there's anything wrong with their health and well-being, because they can become slightly obsessed with that digital reading, for example. But generally speaking, if it can motivate you, if it does help you progress and improve, then I'm actually all up for it. Without technology, we wouldn't have had some of the services that we've got. Exercise in the living room on your smartphone, or using online videos, for example. That is low level technology that has enabled people to become active at home during lockdown and after lockdown, but also very basic sort of step count watches, for example. I do know people without that wouldn't go for that extra walk at lunchtime, or wouldn't go for a walk after work because they haven't hit their 10,000 steps. So if that little device on your wrist is promoting a little bit more activity, I'm actually all up for it.
Yeah, I guess horses for courses. Yeah, as you say, it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Okay, but does Nuffield take it on board? In some gyms, I know you get kind of leaderboards at the front of the exercise group and all this kind of thing, and sometimes it's leaderboards across gyms across the country and all that kind of thing. Does Nuffield get involved with that?
Less so around the leaderboard, because it's all around you as a person. Hence the new service we're providing in January for our gym members is personal best. So it's all about you delivering your best for you personally. So the majority of our machines actually in our gyms have got links to an app. So if you wanted to, you could download the Nuffield Health app that allows you to track and trace how you are doing as far as progress from a mileage perspective on a treadmill or cycle, or how many weights you're lifting this week compared to next week. So again, if you want that technology, you can track it. What we don't advocate though is competition between members. unless members actually call out and say that's what we want, and then people want to sign up for it. But really, it's about trying to better yourself, trying to maintain your fitness and well-being yourself. So yeah, there are facilities out there that we adopt, that we have got, that members can use, but it's really mainly around bettering yourself and becoming the personal best of yourself.
Okay, very good. Now, Mark, if people are listening to this, and maybe now or possibly in the new year, they want to start or maybe to rediscover exercise, get involved in this personal best program you mentioned, what should they do? Who should they contact?
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, the first and foremost, we've got to recognise that we're all on a spectrum. There's some brilliant activities out there that allows people to go from, couch to 5K. There's a well-known app out there that can allow people to do that. But there might be some people that really want to better themselves that are on that further, the sort of more the right side of the spectrum, where they are, gym goers, and they want to improve themselves. So there is something for everyone. From a Nuffield health perspective, online on our website, there's a wide variety of resources available, whether that is some basic online activities, exercise classes that they can do, or advice articles around illness and disease. The first point of call from a Nuffield perspective would be, our website, which you can access just via any search engine, and there'll be some resources out there available for both fitness, health, and well-being. Excellent.
All right, look, Mark, thank you very much indeed for chatting. Interesting to know kind of the whole of what Nuffield gets up to. So many thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
The station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio. The station that makes you feel good.
I just want to state again the importance of getting your blood pressure checked if you can. I found mine was high, and I'm kind of active, well, reasonably active, maybe a bit overweight, maybe drinking a little bit too much wine, but I felt absolutely fine. And I was at an exhibition, and there was a machine, one of these machines that takes your weight and does your blood pressure, that sort of thing. And I had a moment or two to spare, so I jumped on the machine, and the guy at the stand told me that actually your blood pressure is alarmingly high and you need to get it checked out. Go and see your GP, something like that. So it really was a lucky accident. I went to go and see the GP. I got some medication and changed my lifestyle somewhat. I started to eat a little more healthier, try and drink a little bit less, do a bit more exercise. But the point is, I just kind of found out by accident. So if you can, get your blood pressure checked. It really could be a very useful thing to do. So anyway, many thanks to Mark Hall, Head of Primary Care at Nuffield Health, for being a guest on this week's show. And of course, thank you to you for listening. That was the Relaxback UK show with me, Mike Dilke. Thank you for listening, and please do join us again next time.